Dear students, hello, welcome to the Geography series. I have great pleasure in inviting your attention to this episode dealing with types and distribution of fisheries. In my previous episode, a detailed discussion was carried out on the types and distribution of forests. This episode consists of following modules: 1. Fisheries defined, 2. Importance of fisheries, types of fisheries, 3. Fourth one, distribution of fisheries, and the fifth is why fishing is highly developed in temperate latitudes. Fisheries defined. Generally, a fishery is an entity engaged in raising or harvesting fish, which is determined by some authority to be a fishery. According to the FAO, a fishery is typically defined in terms of the people involved, species or type of fish, area of water or seabed, method of fishing, class of boats, purpose of the activities, or a combination of the foregoing features. The definition often includes a combination of fish and fisheries in a region, the latter fishing for a similar species with similar gear types. A fishery may involve the capture of wild fish or raising fish through fish farming or aquaculture. Directly or indirectly, the livelihood of over 500 million people in developing countries depends on fisheries and aquaculture. Fisheries are harvested for their value, commercial, recreational or subsistence. They can be salt water or freshwater, wild or farmed. Examples are the salmon fishery of Alaska, the cod fishery of the Lofoten Islands, the tuna fishery of the Eastern Pacific, or the shrimp farm fisheries in China. Capture fisheries can be broadly classified as industrial scale, small scale, artisanal and recreational. Close to 90% of the world's wild fishery catches come from oceans and seas as opposed to inland waters. These marine catches have remained relatively stable since the mid-90s, ranging from 80 million to 86 million tons. Most marine fisheries are based near coasts. This is not only because harvesting in relatively shallow water is easier than in the open ocean, but also because fish are much more abundant near the coastal shelf due to coastal upwelling and nutrient abundance available. However, productive open ocean fisheries also exist, particularly by sea mounts. Now let us discuss the importance of fisheries. They are as follows: 1. Fisheries increasing food supply. It generates employment opportunities and improves the productivity of traditional fishermen. Improvement of nutritional standards, particularly increased availability of protein and certain minerals and vitamins. Earning foreign exchange Through export of fish products, the fisheries sector has been one of the major contributors of foreign exchange earnings through export. Export of fish and fishery products has grown manifold over these years. Most fisheries are wild fisheries, but increasingly fisheries are farmed. Farming can occur in coastal areas or inlands or in lakes, ponds, tanks and other enclosures. There are fisheries worldwide for finfish, mollusks and crustaceans and aquatic plants such as kelp. However, a small number of species support the majority of the world's fisheries. These species include herring, cod, anchovy, tuna, flounder, mullet, squid, shrimp, salmon, crab, lobster, oyster and scallops. All except the last four provided a worldwide catch of well over 1 million tons. Types of fisheries. Capture of fisheries are extremely diversified, comprising a large number of types of fisheries that are categorized by different levels of classification. On a broad level capture, fisheries can be classified as 1. Industrial or small scale, artisanal and recreational fisheries. A more specific level includes reference to the fishing area, gear and the main target species such as the North Sea herring purse seines fishery, Gulf of Mexico shrimp travel fishery and Patagonia toothfish logline fishery. While capture, fisheries encompass thousands of fisheries on a global scale. They are often categorized by the capture species, the fishing gear used and the level at which a fishery is managed nationally and or regionally. The following brief description provide an overview of capture fishery types. 1. Industrial fisheries. Capital intensive fisheries using relatively large vessels with a high degree of mechanization and that normally have an advanced fish finding and navigational equipment. Such fisheries have a high production capacity and the catch per unit effort is normally and relatively high. In some areas of the world, the term industrial fisheries is synonymous with fisheries for species that are used for reduction to fish meal and fish oil. Small scale fisheries. This type of fisheries are labor intensive, using relatively small crafts and little capital and equipment per person on board. These are family owned, may be commercial or for subsistence. Usually low fuel consumption is used here. Artisanal fisheries. Artisanal fisheries can be subsistence or commercial fisheries providing for local consumption or export and sometimes referred to as small scale fisheries. In general, though by no means always using relatively low level technology. Recreational or sports fisheries. Recreational fisheries have harvesting fish for personal use in leisure, in challenge. Recreational fishing does not include sale, barter or trade of all parts of the catch. Commercial fisheries. Commercial fisheries are undertaken for profit and with an objective to sell the harvest on the market through auction, hauls, direct contracts or other forms of trade. Next is subsistence fisheries. A fishery where the fish caught are shared and consumed directly by the families and kin of the fisheries rather than being brought by intermediaries and sold at the next larger market. Pure subsistence fisheries are rare as part of the products are often sold or exchanged for other goods or services. Traditional fisheries. Fisheries established long ago, usually by specific communities that have developed customary patterns of rules and operations. Traditional fisheries reflect cultural traits and attitudes and may be strongly influenced by religious practices or social customs. Knowledge is transmitted between generations by word of mouth. They are usually small scale or artisanal. Next, let us discuss the distribution of fisheries. Fishery distribution can be classified into marine fisheries, artesian fisheries, inshore fisheries, lagoon fisheries, inland fisheries. First of all, marine fisheries. Marine fisheries consists of continental shelf area and coastal zone. Marine fisheries now yield highest compared to other fisheries. Artisanal fisheries are traditional fisheries involving fishing households using relatively small amount of capital and energy, relatively small fishing vessels making short fishing trips close to shore mainly for local consumption. In practice, definition varies between countries to countries. Example, from gleaning or non-man canoeing in poor developing countries to more than 20-meter travelers are used, but in developed countries the travelers used is different. Artisanal fisheries can be subsistence or commercial fisheries providing for local consumption or export. It is sometimes referred to as small scale fisheries. Inshore fisheries are found in the waters of the shallower part of the continental shelf. Lagoon fisheries. These lagoons provide an important source of protein and other resources for the communities that live around them. The lagoons also contributes significantly to the diversity and status of fish stocks in coastal waters, as many fish species spend part of their life cycle in these lagoons. The last is inland fisheries, or it is called as aquaculture. This contributes about 25% of the world's production of fish. Inland fisheries are often critical to local food security. Most inland fisheries in the developing world are heavily exploited. However, inland fisheries suffer greatly from environmental pressure, in particular deteriorating water quality and habitat. Competition for water and aquatic habitat is the most critical challenge facing inland fisheries in many countries. Inland fishery potentials are reservoirs, ponds and tanks, brackish water, waterlogged area, inland and coastal saline area. The following figure shows the marine and inland water wild fish catches since 1950 to 2005. Major fishing grounds of the world. There are 6 major fishing grounds of the world. These are the Northwest Pacific region, extends southward from the outer Aleutian Islands in the north to the Central Pacific, north of the Philippines Island. Salmon, kind crab, herring, halibut, Alaskan pollock and cod are the most important catch. Japan. Commercial fishing is best developed in Japan because of its a highly organized industry with modern fishing methods. The second important area is the northeast Atlantic and adjacent waters of the Arctic. This extends from Iceland to Mediterranean shores, including the European countries, especially Norway, Denmark, Spain, Iceland and the UK. Shallow waters of the North Sea, especially the most exploited Dogger Banks, is the important areas where fishing is carried out all round the year. The third important place is the northwest of Atlantic, includes the Grand Bank and the George Bank area of the Northwest Atlantic. The convergence of the Gulf Stream and the Labrador Current in that region enhances productivity. The major fish is the cod, but halibut, squid, flounder and redfish are also important here. The fourth is the Northeast Pacific area, which extends from Alaska to California along the western shores of North America, from the 4th large fishing area of the world. Salmon is the most valuable fish of this region, but tuna, halibut and sardines also important. This fishing ground comprises the world's best cod fishing ground along with herring and head duck. The 5th largest area of fishery is the Southeast Pacific. Lying off the coast of South America is known for the anchovy harvest off the coast of Peru. The northward flowing Peru current provides an ideal environment for the anchovy culture because it is associated with a coastal upwelling of nutrient rich, colder water laden with plankton on which this particular fisheries are developed. The 6th area is the West Central Pacific, which extends from the Philippines and Indonesia southwards to the Australian coast. A wide variety of fish flourish in this extensive region, including redfish, bass, mullet, oyster, crabs and tuna. This area, together with the Indian Ocean, comprises a major marine environment not being fished at a maximum level. These regions have been subjected to differential level of fisheries development because of the operation of factors such as market, demand and state of technical development, including storage, transportation and refrigeration. Why fishing is highly developed in temperate latitudes? This is because of a number of factors which hinders the development of the tropical latitudes. They are: tropical waters have a large variety of species all mixed up which reduces the scope for large scale commercial exploitation. Tropical waters have high temperature which does not support plankton population. The very warm climate does not allow fish preservation and the fish must be consumed quickly. Most of the tropical countries have inefficient and inadequate transportation and refrigeration facilities. The demand for fish is also very low in these countries. This is the reason why the temperate latitudes have developed fishing higher than tropical countries of the world. To sum up the whole episode, fisheries play a key role in providing food, income and employment in many parts of the world. We might expect fishing to be a profitable and effective way of getting food. Humans have fished since prehistoric times, but in the last 50 years, fisheries have expanded faster than ever before. Fisheries have expanded rapidly because a growing human population demands more food and because improved technology has simplified capture, processing, distribution and sale. Seafood is consumed all over the world. It provides world's prime source of high quality protein. 14 to 16% of the animal protein consumed. Worldwide, over 1 billion people rely on seafood as their primary source of animal protein. Fish is among the most common food all over the world. Australia, Iceland, Japan, New Zealand, Portugal are the greatest consumers of seafood per capita in the world. There is over 25,000 different types of fish in the world, account more than the combined total of mammals, reptiles, amphibians and birds. Fish can be found in almost every type of underwater environment. For example, the Antarctic ice fish can survive in water below the freezing point because their blood contains special antifreeze chemical to prevent their body from freezing. Sharks, salmons, electric seals and seahorses are other examples of fish. Illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing is an enormous problem in fisheries. It occurs virtually all fisheries and is thought to account for up to 30% of total catches in some important fisheries.